Greetings, y'all. Good afternoon from the sunny Philippines. Well, it's not really sunny right now. It's the end of the day. Um, so I'll have to try to make this real brief. I want to start a new series on this channel and to talk about love and relationships. Um, Matter of fact, my blog, Ask AKA Mo, was created because of this topic: love, marriage, and relationships. Excuse me. Recently, I have three brothers that I'm communicating with on social media who had asked me some advice, asked me some questions about relation. I participate in these relationship blogs and relationship groups, and the answer is just too much for typing. And I thought, what better way for me to record a video and put it up here for them? I'm not going to do the videos yet for those brothers because I have to first explain my philosophy. Because the advice I'm going to give is not going to make sense until you get my philosophy. So, the main part of my philosophy when it comes to love and relationships is what I call the sexual market value, SMV. And I know that's not a good term right now. It doesn't, but that's all I can come up with right now. But eventually I'll probably revise it and come up with a better way to describe it. But uh, the dating field is basically a sexual market. You know what I'm saying? It's like the marketplace for singles, and whether you say you're doing it for love or commitment and all that other bullshit, the bottom line of dating and marriage is to have exclusive sexual access to a member of the opposite sex or same sex if that's what you're into. You know what I'm saying? And so I call that. So we all have a value in that marketplace, and uh, thinking like a credit score. Each of us has a score. We have an SMV score, and just to keep it simple, we'll say 0 to 10. 10 being everyone of the opposite gender is attracted to you, and 0 being nobody of the opposite gender is attracted to you, right? So, um, and it's not all based on looks because I know that we tend to think of that in terms of looks. The guy is tall, good looking, nice body. Automatically, we say, oh, all the women must want him. And that is somewhat true, but there are many things that can detract from your score, even if you're very, very good looking, right? So if you're irresponsible or, you have a criminal record, and for a lot of women, that actually raises the score. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of women, a dude has been locked up a couple times is more attractive than a brother that's, just straight and narrow, right? Um, but things like height, like tall guys automatically raises their SMV, short guys automatically lowers their SMV, regardless of what they got going on. I think the um, the equalizer for men uh, with the SMV is money. When we have money, I mean, you could be fucking repulsive, and women will throw themselves at you. You know, and then of course for men looking for women, it's looks. Like no matter what poll you pull, and the thing about when they ask people questions for these polls, especially when it comes to relationships, what do you value? People put all kinds of shit down. Oh, I value honesty, and he must be responsible, and he has to be a good man. He's got to be nice, and she has to be a good woman, know how to cook. We always all that we say that shit because it sounds good. But if you look at what people do, now that's different than what they say. What they do is we are attracted to someone's looks or we are attracted to somebody's money, and that's basically it, right? Um, and if you want to be a higher person, which is the main idea of this channel, is to become a higher person, you have to resist the shallow urge to focus on those two things because that's what common, thoughtless, shallow motherfuckers do. And if you are someone of higher consciousness, someone more intelligent, you have to make smarter decisions. This is the reason why every day when you look at celebrity gossip, there's always some rich guy or rich woman uh, being taken into court by a spouse who decides to leave them and cash in on that relationship. And um, I know I've had this experience myself, but just knowing brothers that do well. In retrospect, you look at the women or the people that you hooked up with, and you knew it was fucked up in the beginning, but you did it anyway, right? Usually with women, they knew the guy was only in it for pussy, or the dude was a player, but or the dude was a loser. You know what I'm saying? But you fucked with him anyway. That's how it is. And then for us guys, we meet women. We know that they're out of our league, attractive wise, right? We know they're out of our league, but sometimes we're intoxicated on the idea that this fine ass young 25-year-old, 28-year-old chick is on our jock, as if we were fucking Denzel Washington, you know what I'm saying? Terry Crews or something like that. Because, and then it causes us to make those bad decisions. I'll give you guys an example. Um, I've always had like a decent income, but it wasn't until I hit my 40s that my income, put me in a category where you could consider me well off. And uh, the very first women I met when I started making good money, like really good money, the first women I met saw just that, and I didn't see it. But I picked up on the signs early, and then I let them go. And each time I had to brush myself off and say, "What the fuck did I do? How did that happen?" You know what I'm saying? And we all have egos. That one of the laws of human nature is the law of grandiosity, right? Matter of fact, I think it's it's the second. It's the second or the third law of nature, the law of grandiosity, meaning that we have a tendency to think higher of ourselves as far as intelligence, as far as our looks. Men, when we look in the mirror, no matter what we look like, we tend to think that's a good looking motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? If you don't look in the mirror and see a good looking motherfucker, there's something wrong. It's for women, it's natural. Women naturally, when they look in the mirror, even if they're fine, they think they're fat. You know what I'm saying? They think there's something wrong with them. But men, that law of grandiosity affects us more. You know what I'm saying? And so quite often we can become seduced by a sweet talking woman who really want to get in our pants, our pockets, right? Just as the women can get seduced by a good looking dude saying the right shit to get in her pants and her pockets. You know what I'm saying? Um, so sometimes you have to take a very hard look at yourself and figure out, where do I fit in this scale of 0 to 10 with the SMV? And that's hard to do. It's very hard to look at yourself and say, am I really what women want? And the easiest way to figure out your SMV really is to look at women's response to you. Is there a tendency of women that you meet to want you for relationship? Do they meet you and then they're real cool, so you hang out with them and things like that? Not necessarily you fuck them or whatever, but you hang out with them and you befriend them and hang out, and then one day, just out of nowhere, she gets mad. Look, what are we doing? Are we together or what? And you're like, hold up, we weren't dating. Where'd that shit come from? When that happens, you tend to have a higher SMV. Women, upon meeting you, are expecting relationship. If you have a lower SMV, considering that you meet women, you might even hang out with them and talk to each other every day, blah, 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 blah. And then one day you're like, hey, why don't you come spend the night? Or you hang out late one night and you go to drop her off, or she comes to your house and you ask her to stay. And she's like, oh, partner, it ain't like that. You thought y'all was on the way to doing something. And she's like, nah, you like a brother to me. Ugh. That's a low SMV. When you have a high SMV, women tend to expect relationship. When you have a lower SMV, women expect friendship and nothing more. And they don't see you as anything. Matter of fact, another good litmus test is, what does she talk to you about? Some women, when you talk to them, I'm here in the Philippines, so I meet a lot of women here. Even if I'm not interested in them, they are selling themselves. They're telling me what good cooks they are, how it's hard to find a good man. You know, they tell you shit like, I'll fuck them every day, I give them a massage every day, always offering you a massage, cooking your shit, things like that. When women are trying to convince you that they're a good catch, that usually means you have a high SMV. When women are telling you about other men, saying, "Oh, this guy hit on me today," you know what I mean, or okay, still recording. Yeah, so or they're asking you advice about relationships with other dudes, then brother, I hate to tell you this, but you got low SMV. And for women, of course, women usually know where they stand because when you're a good-looking woman, everybody's after you. But sometimes, very often, if you are an average-looking woman, but I don't know, maybe you have something that attracts men, big booty, nice body, big breasts, and things like that, dudes will also be hitting on you a lot. But uh guys are always going to want to fuck, and if no guy is coming at you, then probably you have a low SMV, or your SMV is so high that a lot of brothers don't take the chance, they won't spit. And that's something that's kind of real. um Back in my 20s, I used to date a WNBA player, and she's a big girl. She was 6'4", gorgeous girl, and a gorgeous woman, excuse me. And even before basketball, she was well off because she has a chain of beauty salons in Richmond, Virginia. So um, we met at the gym, and she had been going to that gym where I was working for about a year before me and her started talking. And she said that other than guys flirting with her or, saying things about her body, that no one's really hit on her. Now, you couldn't say that she has a low SMV. She had a very high SMV, but everybody there knew that she was a professional athlete. They knew that she was well off, and she was extremely attractive. And so often low caliber guys or average caliber guys will not spit. Even some high caliber guys who lack the confidence won't spit, and so sometimes that happens. But women generally have guys after them all the time, you know uh, regardless what you look like. But uh, whether your SMV is high or low depends on how they come at you. See, some guys come at you like, damn, after 2 or 3 conversations, want to fuck. Okay. And what that tells you is that your SMV is high enough to attract his attention, to get men interested in you, but it's not high enough that they come correct. And some guys are just trash, you know what I'm saying? Some brothers don't know how to approach women. So that's gonna happen. Ignorant niggas is gonna be ignorant niggas, regardless what you got going on. But if you find that some high caliber men are not, they might even want to date you, take you out, things like that, but they're not willing to commit. Uh, and I know this is very painful to accept, but your SMV is not high enough. Or your interest in guys, you're not interested in men with high SMV. Because that's another thing. Remember, we judge people often by their money and their looks, and we think this makes this person high quality, but that's not all there is to the picture. And very often, women that are saying there's not good men out here. There are good men out here. It's just the ones you're not interested in are not good men. You see what I'm saying? And then for guys, um, uh, I think what's going on with a lot of men is most brothers are not pulling the women that they'd like to have. They're pulling women. We're, like I said, men are we're not going to stay by ourselves. We're going to find women, but we're not getting the women that we want. Now, when a guy sees a woman that's at the level that he wants, he will go after her, and he will stop communicating with other women, and he will go about it right. You know what I'm saying? Unless, some brothers are on a mission, for example. Some high caliber brothers, maybe they're building their businesses, or they're focusing on their kids or things like that. So that might slow them down. But at the same time, these brothers are not out trying to screw everything neither. You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard to distinguish between uh, men who just want sex and men who are relationship material, but they're not attracted to you in that way. But they're still attracted to you. They're just not attracted to you in that way. So anyway, I can talk forever about that, and you know me, I'm long-winded. Uh, so what to do about this SMV thing? Well, something that we should do is we should understand the opposite sex. What is it that the opposite sex wants, right? Also, we have to look at what SMV level are we interested in? Because, like I said, some brothers don't want a 10. You know what I'm saying? They don't want a 9.9. Um, Maybe, partially because they feel that a 9.9 will be too much work, or um, they don't want uh, the drama that comes with it. I know when I was in my 20s, uh, there were some women that were so fine, motherfuckers was always on top of them, always after them. And in an environment like Washington, D.C., a lot of brothers don't want a woman like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, and not saying there's anything wrong with her, but they don't want to be fighting cats all the time. That was, I think, my thing was I wanted to find women, so I ended up fighting a lot because guys are very disrespectful, especially if you're not a big dude, And in my 20s, I was kind of a small guy, so dudes were bolder, they were more disrespectful, and and I don't look like a fighter, even though I was scrappy. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting into a lot of fights. But there were a lot of guys that didn't want women like that. They wanted more of the average girls. Sometimes a guy self-esteem is low enough to where he don't want. I got a friend of mine. Matter of fact, we actually dated her, Mary Kay, who was an attorney when I was in D.C. And I knew her before we hooked up. I knew her for a couple of years, and she usually didn't tell guys that she was an attorney right off the bat. She would tell them that she worked for federal government, things like that, because a lot of guys were intimidated by her income. They were intimidated by her position. She was a JAG, which is a Navy lawyer. And, um, it scared off a lot of guys. And sometimes a woman's status can do that. You know what I mean? With good-looking guys, I've noticed like there's a joke here with Filipino women that Filipino women don't tell men you're handsome. They usually say you look like you have a lot of women. So that's their way of telling you that you're handsome. Um, there's a lot of women who don't want really really good-looking guys. Something that I've discovered since I did not know. I swear I did not know this until I got here because in the States I didn't communicate with a lot of Filipinos. The ones I did were usually martial artists and were family men. But Filipino men cheat. They cheat like brothers do. They cheat like Spanish dudes. You know what I'm saying? And women expect a good-looking guy to be a cheater, and so it's actually harder for good-looking men to find women here. Um, you kind of have to dumb yourself down. You know what I mean? The same way, like in this country, I'm a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? When I meet women, I have to downplay my income. I have to hide my property. When they ask me, I live with my mom. Me and my mom live together in a small. That's how I market myself because, I was in Angeles City for the last 5 months, and I have a property there, and I kept frequenting this same place, talking to the tenants and things like that, and I had to pretend, I had to pretend that I worked for someone with that building, with the ladies that I met, because matter of fact, one girl did know that I owned the building, and she was on me like white on rice, and I know for a fact this chick was not interested in me. She was, I mean, like 20 years younger. She was extremely good looking. And sometimes we have to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? This chick don't want you. She don't want me. It's very hard to tell yourself that, but it's true. This chick don't want me. I'm fat and well. At that time I was much heavier than I am now. A year ago I was 265 pounds. So now I'm like 75 pounds lighter. I'm 185 now. So I had lost over almost 100 pounds. Um, uh, at that time, being heavy, being older, being bald, these chicks don't want you, you know, and so you almost have to downplay yourself to keep them away. And like I said, I've known a lot of sisters that do that. I have one soror. She's a member of my sister's sorority. She's a doctor, and she never tells anybody she's a doctor. Even on social media, you know, people call her doctor to be playing, but she always portrays herself as just working in a hospital, and that's it. And I understand why she does that, because one, it's intimidating some brothers, and then at the other hand, it's gonna attract gold digging dudes, because we are gold diggers too, you know. So anyway, let me look at this time. Yeah, it's 20 minutes. So real quick, so understanding what the other sex wants, what the opposite gender wants out of us, right? You can raise your SMV. Now, my advice to guys has always been work out. I mean, you know, there are many, many benefits to keeping in shape and getting in shape and being healthier. One, you got to drop the alcohol. You got to. The alcohol will fuck your body up. And this has nothing to do with dating. Well, of course it does, but I'm not saying this because of dating. Alcohol is a legalized drug. That's what it's addictive. It's bad for you, bad for your health. It will kill you. If you drink alcohol, it will kill you. Okay, motherfuckers who drink don't want to accept that. But add 20 years to right now, to your age right now. I guarantee if you live those 20 years, your body will be going through shit because of the alcohol that you drink. And double that with the smoking. You have to. It also fucks with your ability to think. Not just when you're drinking. It's not like, you know, you get turned up and you're stupid for the night that you're drinking. No, when you drink, it kills blood cells. I mean, brain cells. Okay? So you don't realize this, but that shit makes you stupid. Sorry. I know there's people who drink and watch this channel, but that's a motherfucking truth. It makes you stupid. Whatever intelligence you think you have right now, you would have more if you didn't drink. So, that being said, when it comes to attracting mates, um, alcohol, cigarettes affects your skin. It affects your health. It affects your erections, fellas. Okay? For every brother I know out here, I used to sell Viagra back in the day. I used to go to Mexico every couple months to buy medicine for my wife. And I would buy Viagra, and I'd buy like a box this size full of Viagra. And I'd bring it back, and I was selling that shit on the street like Coke. Straight up. I was making deliveries all around Sacramento and all around the Bay Area, selling motherfucking Viagra. If you didn't smoke and you didn't drink, especially weed, I'm sorry to tell you this, y'all, but weed has an effect on your erections. If you took care of your body and you didn't sit around 7 days a week watching TV and stuff like that, eating, you know, garbage food at the McDonald's and fast food spots, you wouldn't need that shit. Oh, by the way, this is videotapes, y'all. This is not not video. This is DVDs, okay? I'm not, I'm not fucking with that shit. I thought about bringing it here, but here I don't think, you know, we don't have the health issues here in the Philippines that they did in the States. Like in the States, Viagra is like a really big business because Americans are very unhealthy, and by the time they hit 35, 40 years old, most guys, if they're not taking care of their body, their health, they need that shit. You know, that's why the joke, you know, at the liquor stores, the dick pills and all that. I don't know if that shit works, but everybody's buying that stuff because it makes you unhealthy. So for the SMV, for the dating market, for the sexual market, please, brothers, stop poisoning your body and take care of what you're eating. Eat good food and work out. And there's another thing with SMV. Uh, Men who do not have, you know, strong builds are less attractive to women. Matter of fact, that other video series I got going on, the Black Manhood, watch that because this is connected to it. Women are more attracted to guys who look strong, who look like they can protect them. Okay, and you need to be capable of protecting your woman. You know, nothing is more damaging to a relationship than if a crime occurs or something happens to that woman and you fail to protect her. She'll never look at you the same. When things go bump in the middle of the night, it is not the woman who gets out of bed to investigate that shit, it's you. If you are not physically strong and confident and secure and feeling yourself, you're not smelling yourself, you're going to project that to the women around you. Um, Weak men, they always call them betas, and it's really more personality or anything like that. But weak men are a turnoff to women. Some women, of course, there are weak women out there who don't care. They just want a man. You're somewhat good looking. You know what I mean? You're not too high on the SMV scale. There's somebody for everybody there. But generally, what happens with women is women tend to uh, date at their level or below. Men tend to try to date up. We usually are more attracted to the women that are out of our league. And even though most brothers don't actually go out, they don't get them. A lot of brothers date down to increase their numbers. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we'd like to all have nines and tens, but not all of us can get nines and tens. So a lot of time, brothers will date fives. You know what I mean? Just to fuck. Sorry, ladies, but we're just keeping it real on this channel. That's what a lot of brothers do. They go after the women who are insecure, who are less attractive, who feel less attractive, the overweight women, and the women who are struggling financially and things like that. Brothers prey on women with lower SMV because they're easier to get, and you don't have to give them much. They don't require much. Now there will come a point that you complain and you demand more, but generally brothers they don't have to work as hard for lower SMV women than they do for the higher SMV women. So but yeah, working on raising your SMV, making sure you're always fit and clean when you go outside. I know that's increases your attractiveness. Learning to be good with money, knowing how if you are struggling financially, it projects insecurity to insecure life. I'm sorry, to women. If a woman knows what your struggles are, some women like struggling men because makes them feel more in control. Some women like kicking down to help a brother out and fixing his car and letting him use her car because he ain't got one and shit like that. I remember when I stopped stopped working last year when I retired, and I gave my car to my nephew. A lot of the lady friends I had around me were always offering me their cars. And no, I got rid of the car because I want to relax. I want to ride public transportation. I want to catch the Greyhound and see the state, blah, 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 blah. And women were almost pushing their money on me, thinking that I was hurting or something like that. And I think that is what attracts many women to guys that have less, that are lower SMV fellas, because it makes them feel more secure, you know. Um, anyway, so this is for the guys. To raise your SMV, you definitely have to get a hold of your finances. And it's not always about how much you make, it's what you do with what you make. One of my rules is 60%. Live off of 60% of your income, and you will always have disposable income. But what happens is we have what I call the zero balance syndrome, where every payday, the day before payday, my balance is at zero or near zero because I spend 100% of what I make. But if you get in the habit of spending only 60% of what you make, there's always 40% left over. Now, long term, that's retirement money. Short term, that's disposable income. If you can discipline yourself to do that, you will have more money and you will have more luck with the ladies, because when the women see that you're not really struggling, you're not hurting, you're not swiping and praying, you know what I'm saying? That makes you more attractive to those women. So anyway, I just wanted to define the SMV. I'll do another video on raising your SMV and then maybe a better detailed description of the SMV. But this is the core of my philosophy of the dating market, of the singles market. And then probably in another 2 or 3 videos from now, I'll get to those questions. And y'all, if you want to find out what I was asked and what my answer is, subscribe and hit the bell button and check for updates regularly. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Peace.